Okay, now we've got our bodice block cut out, we can start changing around the location of our dart. We're going to recap the slash and spread technique. So this is exactly the same technique that we used for our skirt darts, same concept. So the first thing I'm going to do is place my block on my marking paper, and I'm just going to trace the outline of my marker or my sloper, and just want to make sure that I don't forget my dart point. Obviously with full scale, to keep the marker flat, you just need to put a little bit more pressure on it as you're tracing around the block. So I'm going to start at the bottom of the shoulder and just bringing it all the way around. Just down my center front. And you can just kind of move around and distribute your weight on the areas of the pattern that you're tracing. And that will help keep it flat. And then I'm just joining this back up to under the shoulder. And as always, you want to mark your original dart legs. So one here and one here. And I can label them A and B just to make things a little bit easier for myself. And again, just make sure you've got your apex marked, your bust point. Okay. So using my ruler, I'll draw in the original dart. So my waist dart. So, just going to check the camera to make sure you can see that okay. I think I need to move you back a tiny bit. There we go. Okay. And this is the fun part. So we can now choose where we want to move this dart to. If I take you back to page 74, we've got all of these different options, these different dart locations, and of course you can come up with your own or make your own dart location. I think it's good to just practice a few of these that are in the book, just to help you in following these guidelines. So these are, you know, quite common locations that you might want to move your dart to. So I'm going to move mine to the top of my bodice. I think I'm going to go around the neck. Let's do mid-shoulder, so number 5. Okay, so that means from my dart point, and your new line always needs to intersect or start at the dart point, or the bust point, should I say. And I'm going to draw a new line right up to the mid-shoulder. Okay, so my mid-shoulder is about here. So I'm going to draw a line from mid-shoulder down to the bust point. Like so. So now what I want to do is transfer the space of this dart. I'm going to move it and take it up here to this area of the mid-shoulder. So if I just again show you this on the textbook, number 5, you can see that it's obviously going to open out. So hopefully you can all remember what you need to do. First thing you want to do is basically slash up one of your dart legs. A or B really doesn't make that much difference. I'm going to go for the one closest to my center front. Very carefully, and I'm not going to go all the way to the bust point. I'm just going to leave myself about 1/8. So remember, you want to cut 2, not through. Okay, and now I need to also slash down my new dart line. So I'm just gonna pivot myself around. Take this tape off. So as I'm cutting, I'm starting to release that dart. And again, just cut up to the dart point. You don't want to cut through it. Okay. So now what we need to do is close this dart. So once we close this, it's then going to transfer this space to the top. Okay. So what I'll do is gently pivot this area of my pattern, so point B, towards point A. Okay? Because I've got my tape stuck down. There we go. So if you just watch what's happening, I can even just draw a little arrow to show you. As I'm moving this, rotating this line, point B, to close point A, and you can see this area here is opening out. And take it all the way across. So once it meets that point, I know my dart is fully closed. So I can grab a piece of tape. I can tape that down. And here is my new dart opening. Just a few things to point out. Obviously this area looks much larger than the dart that I had down here. You know, the reason for that is if you actually have a look at the length, so the length from the bust point to my waist was much shorter than my length from my bust point to the very top of my shoulder. So this is going to increase what looks like the width of the dart. But in terms of how much we're actually going to be taking in from the pattern, it's still going to remain the same. It's not going to affect the fit or anything like that. So just keep in mind, you know, there is going to be a difference in the size, especially when you're changing the location, when it's upwards towards the top of the bodice, rather than say if it was down here, because then that way my length here would still be the same, but it's obviously longer this way. So I've got my new dart open. I want to put a piece of paper here just to finish this up and to also show you how we can true this dart.